Hello, this is Alchemy. I want to talk a minute about teachers and training cycles. Teachers are all of us. They're everyone. When we don't learn from someone, that's usually our own issues. And you can take that to any extreme that you want. Every person that we meet is a learning moment. So, yeah, because I just happened to be around my teacher. I've had many teachers. He's now my friend. He's always been my friend, but he's still my teacher. For a while he was my boss, and still is in my view to a certain degree. So anyways, I have a focus on teachers and the fact that teachers come in all forms and that we can learn from anyone. And sometimes they're a real pain in the ass, and those hard experiences can be worth the while. Some of my best lessons in life, the lessons that have probably saved my life more than any other, came from a drunk in the streets, in the gutters of the streets of LA. I will never ever forget that. I've had many teachers who have had very poor health in many respects, but they knew certain little insights. Had I not stopped, taken the time, given them the respect of being a human being and having the gift of a certain knowledge that I may not have, I would miss many things in life. And there's no one teacher that's perfect and has all of the gifts and the keys. So, being around my teacher means I was around the school, so I was also around other people, and I learned many things. It's part of the reason that I do a lot, just to go down there. So, that's sort of a few words on teachers, and I want to move right over to training cycles, because that was part of what I was gifted by someone else who was there that I met. And, excuse me, why? Training cycles. I'm going to use that term because even with a disabled person, and even when you have an injury, you're still in a training cycle. You're on the down end of your training cycle. There's actually things you can do for yourself in all of those stages of injury. There actually is a lot. And again, Meir, he helped me through one of my surgeries, and right from the moment basically that I woke up, I had people working on me. There's people that have the abilities, and for him it's easy. For me, I have to work at it. I have to think pretty hard what to do for somebody when they're wounded really bad. But for him it's easy. And there's people out there that know how to work with extreme injury, illness, and different parts of the cycle, the training cycle, and the cycles of life. Something I think that they're terming the flow. But anyways, I just went through a really extreme training cycle of my own, and it was, a good one because I'm in like a moving forward phase. So I trained really hard for like a certain little test I put in my head, and so I went and I did my trip, and I took it well. And of course, it was hard, on a regular schedule, something that people overlook and don't acknowledge often. And especially when you travel, you have to, discipline's always the hard word, but you have to be a little more disciplined, and that takes me back to training cycles and discipline, because they go together. And often what we find, and what I found in myself and in my recoveries, is I get stuck for long periods, even years, because I can't find, I'm doing a lot of stuff, but I can't find a way to break through with whatever. And I was listening to Meir the other day talk about vision, and about, I'm sure I've heard this from him before, but that basically all vision problems can be resolved with relaxation and ease. And, and of course, him being a vision guy, me being a broken pain guy, all his stuff relates, perfectly across. So I've always known all I got to do is relax and do more ease. So with my training cycle, while I'm sitting there doing all the movements, because I'm really disciplined about enforcing a program on myself, and I'm finding it a lot when I work, especially with people like myself, that is the major stumbling block, is not having the ease to move forward one step at a time, which denies us the discipline that we need to keep moving forward, if that makes any sense. The fact that we're even trying shows that we have discipline, okay? So I think the things that we keep trying are just too hard. So we simply need to focus on the fact of ease, just like he does with vision. We have to do it with our bodies, and we have to use our mind and tell ourselves and use very gentle discipline to say, hey, yes, we will work our program, but we will work it a little bit easier. Okay, so again, this just bring me a cycle. So yeah, you can mentally write down on your piece of paper, I'm going to do so much this day, boop, 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 and I'm going to get stronger, boop, 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 boop. Okay, well, that's not going to work, because if you've got anything wrong with you, you're going to reach a peak and hit your wall, and you're not going to be able to move forward. And you're going to need to find those ways to do it easier, Again, the cycle. When it feels right and when your body's ready, you push it a little more. And just like what I just did, okay? And then after you pushed it a little more, in time you will get a feel for your strength level and how far to push with your training. And so when you're doing it, take it and you do a trip or you have an injury or something, you need to sort of reset, because you were working on a certain schedule, then you went and you did an event or something happened, and so again you go the cycle. And today for me was a down day, and you take as many down days as you need. And it was just checking in with my body so that I can reset and start another plan. And so while you're in the cycle, no matter where you're at, you don't need to take down days, but you do need to, again, because of the ease issue and the discipline issue, especially with the discipline issue, you need to discipline yourself on taking care of yourself. And that means doing, either nothing, or the simple things, or simply what I'm doing right now, sitting here with a cup of tea. And brings me back to teachers. Funny thing, because Meir, and I'm sure he has no clue about this, because it doesn't seem to have any clue exactly how much pain I'm in, but I used to have a funny habit of when I would get in a lot of pain, and we were like too busy we were too tired or whatever to do anything about it. Excuse me. He'd always say, let's just sit down and have a nice cup of tea. So anyways, I started incorporating that myself, that anytime I was getting anxious, anytime I was getting tired, anytime I was getting baffled, I would sit down and have myself a nice cup of tea. And I never really liked tea a lot, but I found it, I found one that I can stomach, and it's actually, it's good for me. And so it's just, it's a little exercise. So maybe that's what I'm trying to say, is look at those little 5-10 minute breaks throughout your day as part of your training and as an exercise. And incorporate that into your cycle and be flexible with the amounts of time that you use. And, if you're like a really drill sergeant or regimented person, and you're going to write all this stuff down, that's fine. Most people don't do that. And maybe that's unfortunate, because I think most people would be well served by keeping track of how much time they are spending when they're actually focused on doing movement for themselves and actually taking full time out for themselves. And I do mean full time out for themselves. Something, again, I don't see very many people doing. Even people that should know, when you need that 5 or 10 minutes, you need to go take it by yourself. I mean, heck, go in the bathroom and sit there for 5 or 10 minutes. So that pretty well covers everything I got to say for a while. Teachers and training cycles, and everybody's learning a learning opportunity. You may have to put up with a lot of stuff that you may think you shouldn't have to put up with, but again, those are learning opportunities to a certain degree. When you're done with a teacher, you move on. It's simple as that. Fortunately for me, Meir and I are good friends, and we always have seemed to exchange information, and it seems to be the way it goes with most of my friends, because we're all pretty much interested into the same thing. Even my family, not that they're into the business or fully into this stuff. We talk about a lot, and they have an understanding whether they're doing it or not. Somewhere along their lives, I do believe that something that some of my words will help them with having ease in living and taking the whacks that life deals out, and not missing any opportunities to learn from somebody something that might save your life. I mean, because for me, really, with teachers, that's what it's come down to many, many times, and likely to in the future. So that's pretty much it. I'll king you out.